Let me start record. Yeah. So that's what I mean. If you just keep on processing this knowledge, it will become intelligence later. So what I am just telling is, all will lead to thinking. No. So when you grab some information, now what I am telling you are hearing, and now there are 18 here. So all 18 students are getting their own versions. And I am also telling my version. And I mean, out of 18, all 18 have their own versions. So why is that? Because you are getting this knowledge, or you are processing this information, we are thinking. So my question is, have you ever thought about a method to process this knowledge in a different way other than thinking? So this is just to just kind of eye opener, just a normal general discussion. So any ideas from your side? Anyone? Hope I am clearly audible to you, right?
Yes, sir, you are audible, and I don't have any method to get the knowledge rather than thinking.
So Sarindu is telling that is as far as he understands, so that's the only method, thinking and critical thinking. So critical analysis, analytical problem solving, so that's the method as per him. Yeah, thank you, Sarindu. So anyone else? So have anyone thought about something beyond thinking or out of thinking or whatever, right? Anyone? Okay, so just think about it. Again, I'm asking to think, right? Just think about it, because whenever you think, what's going to happen, there is something called mind matrix or silos. Silos means you all are generating what you call ego. Ego means that becomes your domain of knowledge. So now there are 18, now more than 20 participants here. So you are going to have 20 knowledge domains here. 20 knowledge domain means each one has its own mind matrix. You put the knowledge into that and you process, and there is a version. You are generating a version. That is your version. Now, what I am telling, if you get it, that means we both of us are having somewhat similar versions, but it's still two different versions. But of course, there is some amicable understanding. As per the mutual understanding, I am telling and you are hearing and you are compiling and you are understanding. So as per the mutual understanding, even though we are using two different versions, yes, it is understandable for between us. So just think of it. That is a normal general discussion. I just want to give you an eye opener. Is there any other method to get this knowledge or to process knowledge other than thinking? Or is there any faster way of learning other than thinking? Just think of it. So at the moment I am telling you all are being trapped in a mind matrix. That's all I am going to tell at the moment. Right? Okay. Fine. So any thoughts? Any thoughts? Yeah. Sarindu mentioned one thing. Any other? Okay, maybe it's a new theme for you. That's okay. Let's continue our normal session. All right. So let me share the screen. Okay. So last day we just went through our cloud computing stuff. So let's continue a little bit on that and discuss these things. What is cloud computing and all? Yeah, we went through this and we finally, I think we stopped here. Few negatives. And we mentioned ultimately, but moving to cloud may be inevitable. So most of the business whether they like or not, they have to make that decision to go on to cloud. So otherwise, they won't be able to compete with other rivals or other competitors. So technology wise, they have to be in a higher position. Okay, can you all see this screen? It's visible, right? The screen is visible, right?
Yes, it's
Okay, fine. Now, when I talk about technology, so we are talking about innovation. So if an organization wants to innovate cloud infrastructure, so innovation, we can discuss about 4 dimensions. One is, we can say, product innovation. Then we can say, as organization, position. Then further we can say process innovation, right? Then we can say paradigm. So normally when you take a organization, if an organization is innovating in all 4 dimensions, so that means that organization will become a successful organization. Now, if you just think about it, now cloud infrastructure means what? This is a new technology. It brings you new technology. Now, can any one of you tell me, out of these 4 dimensions, product innovation, position innovation, process innovation, paradigm innovation, where does it fit in? Technology innovation will mostly fall into which out of 4? Just think and tell me, out of 4, which dimension technology falls into, or which triggers. Now, for example, will technology, introducing new technology, will it trigger product innovation? Will it trigger position innovation, or process innovation, or paradigm? I'm not going to explain any of these things, but I'm just putting you the question. Yeah, just try it. Which one?
Product.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. Somebody else can try. Yeah, actually, overall, introducing technology will cause all the 4 things to innovate. But we need to understand, the question was, what was the most, applying technology to which dimension is mostly going to fit in. That's what. So product, yes, it is good, but definitely before product is going to be the process innovation, process technology. Introducing technology will initiate, spark, or it will spark process innovation, because processes are the core values of the organization, Now, just think about it. Okay, now you are going to introduce a ERP system. Let's say Oracle ERP. Now, as per the latest, Oracle has, anyone knows about Oracle latest ERP system? Anyone? Yeah. Tell me, latest ERP in Oracle. Which one? No one? Oracle NetSuite. Prior to that, they had something called e-business suite. So now it is NetSuite. Now, let's say we have this particular organization. Let's say, okay, let's say organization is ABC. Now they are a manufacturing company. It's a manufacturing organization. Fine. So they are going to introduce Oracle NetSuite as a new ERP system. for their enterprise resource planning, ERP. They have been introduced. This is a manufacturing organization. So to manufacture a product, they need what? Raw material. Fine. They need what? Suppliers. So we are going to have supply chain management system. So we are going to have finished goods management. So likewise, there are a lot of components going to come into play in manufacturing sector, because it's a manufacturing organization. We can say maybe not FMCG one, but just say only manufacturing is there. Now, currently, let's say in this manufacturing, okay, let's say for example, supply chain, it is handled manually. Anyone talk about, anyone aware about what is supply chain? Yeah, you can talk, tell me. Supply chain, what is supply chain?
Is it like keep records what are supplies to the organization?
Yeah, good attempt. Yeah, another one. Supply chain management system. During COVID, there was huge innovation in
Mostly
this.
using blockchain technology for supply chain.
Blockchain, okay. In the supply chain, financial management is done using blockchain. That is okay. That is somewhat okay. Financial management in supply chain, due to this COVID situation with everything online, blockchain played a major role. That's understood. But what is really supply chain management? Now we are in a manufacturing company. Okay, just think about it. Let's say, okay, everybody knows about. We can take a tire company, or let's say we take Toyota. Okay, let's say this Toyota company. So let's say they want to manufacture cars. They manufacture cars, right? Now to manufacture a car, you need raw material, right? Raw material. Let's say this is Japanese Matsushita company, or let's say Japan, Toyota.jp, Japan, and they have something called, I hope you know these things, assembly line. Assembly line. What is assembly line? You should know these things.
It's a process or a thing that combine raw materials to
Okay.
product.
Exactly. It is a chain. It's a kind of a chain where on the fly, the materials are plugged in different positions. Let's say, for example, in the assembly line, maybe the first position. First position may be the chassis of the vehicle. Chassis of the vehicle put into the line. Then in the second position, maybe the wheels of the vehicle put into the line. In the third part of the position, maybe the engine is fitting. In the fourth part of the position, maybe our ignition system. Likewise. So what I'm telling, in the assembly line, on different places, different raw material are being put in, and ultimately at the end, a car, kind of a car for quality testing. The quality testing is happening later in the line. For quality testing, a car, kind of a, we can say maybe not 100% finished product, but is a kind of a just finished product will come in. Something called car will be there. I mean, earlier there was nothing called car, because initially only the chassis is there, and first and wheels likewise. A model will be coming out, maybe kind of a prototype, or will be coming out. So the question is, now in the assembly line, these are what raw material: chassis, wheels, engines. Now these raw materials should be available on demand to the assembly line. Otherwise, what's going to happen? Now, when the car is, when this particular product is coming to position number 2, if the wheels are not available, then problem no. Then wheels, you can't fit the wheels on time. then assembly line will have big problems because you can't stop this chain. It is automated chain. Now, therefore, these materials has to be linked with what? Supply chain. Supply chain. So there is a different chain, different mechanism, different process, which is continuously supplying chassis to this assembly line, continuously supplying wheels to the assembly line, continuously. So that is what raw materials are plugged in on demand as needed to finish the product. So that is kind of example for supply chain. Supply chain. Got the idea? Supply chain. Any questions? Clear? Clear, Naresh?
Clear, sir.
Yes, sir, clear.
Okay, yeah. Toyota car, okay, it's okay. Now, initially, this particular organization was doing this particular task manually. Manually means what? Okay, get the count. Okay, is there any number of wheels, sufficient number of wheels are there? No, there is one is not enough. Okay, get the count or place the order to the supplier and call him. Okay, we need 10 more wheels, please. Supply 10 more wheels, please. Otherwise, we are in trouble. And again, on the chassis, we are running out of chassis at 5 p.m. Could you please supply? So what is that? Was there any system there? No, all manual. Was there any particular process, automated process? Kind of is there, but it's still manual. So that is the way this particular organization as of now operating. So now they want to innovate. They want to innovate. So how they are going to innovate? They are going to introduce something called ERP system, Enterprise Resource Plan, which includes supply chain module. Oracle NetSuite will include supply chain module. And as soon as they introduce this one, so I'm just taking a jump. Let's say they are going to introduce this one. What will happen? Now the previous process, what was the previous process? They were doing manually. Okay, there is a watcher. Let's say there's a person who watches whether material is running out of in each and every position, whether engines are running out, whether wheels are running out. There are people to watch these things, right? And they will watch and they will manually inform. So once they going to introduce a new system, what will happen? Will that process get changed or will it be the same process? The wind is going to change, right? You can't be, I mean, when the system is introduced, then it's going to get closer to the real assembly line. That's what I mentioned earlier. Everything on demand should be automated. So the process is definitely going to change. How is going to change? There will be analytics. There will be analytics. What kind of analytics? Okay, Oracle NetSuite will keep on monitoring if this particular raw material, okay, let's say reorder level, if it is reaching reorder level, ROL, just before it's running out of the material, please order them. So automatically through the line, it should be coming in supply chain. The hardware should be there. Those parts should be configured. So I'm just talking about the IT side of it. I mean the ERP side of it. So it will just trigger, okay, we need more material. So what will happen? As then the previous, there won't be no more manual course or nothing. Automatically, the order will be placed and the material will reach the particular location to particular position. That's what's going to happen. So then what happened? What we did? We introduced IT. Earlier, we had information. There was an information system. Yeah. Why? Because why information system was there? Because these people are doing manually. So definitely there is IS. No, information system should be there. Even to do manually, I mean, they need to keep the track of this material, how many, and like maybe at even in a book, maybe they even have a lot of files maintained manually. But that is the information system. So what we did, we introduced IT. Information technology. What is the technology? We introduced NetSuite ERP system. So that IT will do what? It will operationalize. It will operationalize. The word should come there actually. It should be here. Word should be there. Operationalize. operationalize IS, and you're going to have the technology. The outcome will be there. So IT will operationalize IS systems and is going to improve what your old process into a new process. That's what's going to happen. So this is just an example. I'm just telling a small example. Now, this particular organization, they introduce cloud infrastructure because NetSuite is on cloud. So they implement Oracle NetSuite, which is cloud infrastructure, which triggered process innovation. So process innovation definitely going to innovate, increment, because we have partial innovations, full innovations, radical innovations, incremental innovations. Okay, let's say increment little by little, their outcome will get improved. Why? Because now we are rectifying processes. Got it? So this will cause product innovation. What is position? Position means their image in the industry. Their image in the industry. So now let's say in case of car, if they are manufacturing cars, earlier, if per a month, if they manufacture 1,000 cars, now next month suddenly they are increasing to 2,000. Why? Because of full automation. Therefore, I mean their throughput or their output and outcome, both are higher now. So as a result, they get a good image, they get a good outcome in the industry. So their position is becoming a better, they are in a better position than in the previous year. Why? They are getting a lot of sales now. So product innovation, position innovation, process innovation. It triggered from introducing new technology. Got it? So paradigm is nothing much, people mindset. This is mindset. People mindset change. Now this is the most difficult one, right? Because the earlier people were used to manual things, no? Right? But when this new system introduces, when everything gets changed, there can be people who doesn't like the change. That is, anyway, just the nature, no? Because everybody likes to wait their comfort zone, in their comfort zone. Change resilient, they don't like to get changed. They want to the tradition to continue. But without change, no innovation. You have to take the challenge and you need to implement the change. So anyway, let's talk about that one later. So this is just a classic example. I just want you to tell the cloud infrastructure as a technology, what it can bring to organization. Okay. Yeah, do we have a question? Where all components get attached together. Where all components get attached together. That is in the assembly line. Is that the question? Yeah, because assembly line, I mean, it's a chain of activities are there. So different places, different things get assembled, and at the end, as I mentioned, at some point there will be a testable product. Then the quality testing and everything has to happen. Then your test drive and everything will take place. So a lot of steps are there in assembly line. But I just want to tell you, we are this example. Okay, so that is in very briefly. I just want to explain. So just get the model. I just want you to introduce how technology will spark process innovation, which will cause product innovation, process innovation, paradigm innovation. So when you think about the organization, just apply this theory and see whether as an organization, are they innovating in all 4 dimensions? If an organization innovating in all 4 dimensions, yes, they are a successful organization. They are a successful organization. So just think about, especially just think about Sri Lanka. Now, as per your knowledge, do we have such organizations in Sri Lanka? All 4 dimensions innovating, just think. Give some examples as per your knowledge. Do you have? Manufacturing, just think about manufacturing. නැද්ද ලංකාවේ?
I think there are plenty of organizations like big companies, TSI, Munchie, Maliban.
Exactly. Great, great, very good. Exactly those companies. Munchie, they all are running ERP systems. Manufacturing. Munchie, Maliban, DSI, exactly. Yes. DSI, they are using SAP manufacturing. Munchie also using SAP. And Maliban is Oracle, if I'm not mistaken. So, likewise, we have organizations in Sri Lanka, Mars, Unilever, yes, innovating on all 4 dimensions. So they are successful organizations. Now, Maliban, Munchie, DSI, enough for profits. So that's why they are successful. Just think about the organization which are going down. At somewhere out of the 4 dimensions, there is a gap. There is a gap. Just think about it. There's a gap. Try to find out what is the gap. Maybe their process is not rectified. Maybe people are not willing to change. Paradigm is problem. Products, yeah, problem. So they are not introducing technology in the correct time, correct place. Or they are not, they are always using old technology. So they are not adapting it quickly. Laggards are there. People knowledge, they are using old knowledge. So the people are not willing to learn new things and adapt new knowledge. They don't have a proper learning culture within the environment, within their organization. So a lot of problems. So that caused them to not to come up as an organization, successful organization. Got it? Right. Okay. So the whole purpose is to give an idea what the technology can do for an organization. Fine. Okay. Let's jump to our next discussion. Actually, this will put the base for our next discussion. Now, this is the next discussion we have to do now. What is this? Yeah. Is my screen, can you see the graph here? Because I think I'm in video mode in my screen. Is it clear for you?
Yes, sir. We can clearly see the graph.
Okay, no problem. Right. Thanks. Now, what is this? This is kind of a migration. Just think this particular organization calculating the cost for the business. Example, TCO. TCO is total cost of ownership. TCO, total cost of ownership of a migration to cloud infrastructure as service. Again, cloud infrastructure over 3 years. Over 3 years. This organization, which is operating on-premise, they want to move for cloud. So they are putting on a 3 years migration plan. They are organization, I mean, they are CXO, they are heads of the organization. Organization leadership decides, okay, we are going to go for a change. Our change, we are going to initiate a 3-year plan. At the end of 3rd year, we should be achieving which one? We should be achieving this particular line. Can you remember this statement? This one, sorry. Lift and shift your application, we should be achieving not the first part, save time and money. That's the goal of this migration. We should be saving time. I mean, if we operate on-premise with, let's say, if we spend 1 million, I'm just telling 1 million per year. Let's say 1 million per year is too low, no? Right? Let's say 1 billion per year for maintenance and all because of the data center maintenance cost. When we go for cloud, at least we should reduce 50% of that cost, half a billion at the end of 3rd year. That's the goal, target. Otherwise, no point, no. Because why we go for cloud, one of the main thing is to adapt pay-as-you-go model. Infrastructure. Pay-as-you-go model should reduce the capital expenditure. That is one of the major objectives why we move to cloud. So at the end of 3rd year, in terms of infrastructure, we should be reducing our cost. So how do you do that? How do you do that? So that's why this particular diagram or the chart, you can see the cost on this left hand side, this is cost and this is time in years. This is year 1, quarter 1, year 1, quarter 2, Q3, year 1, and the year 2 start Q1, Q2. Likewise, across 3 years, the quarters, four quarters per year. And now you can see here, initially their cost was here, and at the end, it is dropping for 55% dropped cost. But after 3 years, right, it takes time. You can't do overnight migration to cloud. It takes time, depends. Now, this is a 3 years plan. That is why. So, organization have to have a strategy. What is the migration strategy they are going to use? Delivery timeline. At the end of 3 years only, you are going to achieve this. Not 1 year. You can't do it. It depends. It depends, but not 2 weeks, 3 weeks, no way. And so, how is going to do? Now, you can see initially, they were here. Now, what is this line? This particular color, on-premise cost. I would say magenta, ne? Yeah. On-premise cost. So they were dollars, yeah, kind of, let's say $4 million. So that is their normal cost. For the data center and everything, $4 million they were spending maybe yearly. Yeah. On-premise cost. Now they start the migration. Migration starts. Before that, they were doing the test and POCs because they need to do test no and POCs. What is a POC? Anyone? Anyone? What is the POC? What do you mean by POC? What is the POC again? Anyone? POC stands for proof of concept. Proof of concept. What is proof of concept? So therefore, we simulate, we test our actual scenarios in a testing environment. We get that technology, a trial model. That's why these trial versions without costing. I mean, we are getting a minor lower technology stack, and we are trying to test that one. This is how we are going to do. We are just simulating the model in a low cost environment, and we are doing that is known as a POC, proof of concept. This is where are we now? This is where we want to go to achieve the end goal. This is the POC we are doing. Whether it's going to be successful or not, with a small amount of test data, smaller infrastructure. Okay, now for example, if the actual environment is we are going to take in the cloud large scale servers, maybe accelerator servers with Oracle, but for the POC, we are using nano computers, small computers, T1 microcomputers. The actual environment, we may want to go for with 32 cores with 16 processors. But on the POC, we are using with 2 processors, 4 cores, smaller scale. We can scale up later because this is for the POC to test. Okay, the volume doesn't matter for the test. No, if it is work for the low volume, it's matter of performance problem. But when the volume increase, performance problems will be there. But we are plugging in more resources. That's a different thing. But this is for testing. Big or small, the concept is the concept. What will happen in the production, the risk and the performance. So that we can manage. Risk and the performance we can manage if the concept is proof. If we prove the concept, yes, it is working by fact and evidence. Yes, we can apply that model anywhere. That is what we are going to do here and the POC. Okay, so POC is done. For that one, very small cost will be there, very little cost. Then the migration kick off. Year 1, quarter 2 comes. Still our data, data center cost is it's not going to get low. No, data center shut down business. So same cost. Now we can see another cost has been triggered. What is that? Migration investment cost. Migration investment. Yeah, definitely, because we need maybe we need to hire new resources to test the particular skill set. So a lot of certain investment we need to do. We may need to pick some licenses here. We need to talk to a cloud vendor. We need to sign up with a cloud partner. We need to come up with some agreement. So there will be cost involved. So that is what migration investment cost. And cloud cost. Yes, cloud cost was here and now it is there here as well. So that is, then Q3 comes. Now what is Q3? මොකද්ද Q3 උඩටම ගිහිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ. මේ පේනවනේ. Migration investment උඩටම ගිහිල්ලා. You know, I mean, now the critical part starts because now applications are going to get migrated to the cloud. Going to get migrated to the cloud. Now this is just a chart. I mean, we are not going to have a lot of all the information here because during the migration we may not migrate the critical applications at once. We are getting the most less critical applications to the cloud. Little by little, we are testing those things. Once those things becoming okay, only we are trying to get the critical applications. And in the meantime, I mean, for a certain time period, the hybrid operations will be there because now you can see still the data center has not gone down. Now, even in Q3, data center is the same cost, right? So that means data center is operating as it is, but certain components are in the cloud. So hybrid model is running. Some part on-premise, some part on the cloud. And this cost also there. And again comes the year one, end of year one. Again, data center cost, you can see it has gradually gone down a bit. And this one has gone up now. Cloud cost is going down. So this is the nature of a cloud migration. Now when it's come to year two, I don't need to explain one by one. Now what's going to happen? You can see year two, investment is going down now. Investment is going down, but now cloud cost is becoming high. Why? Because now initial agreement and everything is done now. Now we have to invest on the infrastructure. Not the people hiring skill, and those things are done now. Agreement sign off and those things are done. Initial investment cost is down, project is sign off and go ahead is given. And now the infrastructure cost, because now we are paying for the data. And for the cloud, for the data and for the usage and the processor usage, memory usage, we had to pay them. Now that's why that cost is going high now. Because of the migration, we may think about plugging more resources we need more processing power because and data center goes down. So now cloud part is going high. So therefore, particular, I mean, let's say for example, on the data center, if a particular query, if a particular report came in 10 minutes, now suddenly due to the migration, if it is taking 20 minutes, it is not acceptable. No, the business is complaining. Okay, I mean, last week the report came in 10 minutes, now it is taking 20 minutes. So it's not a good thing for the business. So what they will do, they will plug in more resources. I have processing power, processing power, memory. So the cost goes up. Cost is going high. So that's what's happening here. Because still they haven't identified the right sizing, optimal size, optimal infrastructure is still yet to be identified. It's still in testing phase because this is year two. Migration method, year two first quarter. Now gradually going, you can see data center, decommission karna. The machines in the data center, the servers in the data center, we are sunsetting those things, we are decommissioning those things, and we are reducing the cost from that side and investing on this place. But in this cost, migration investment, yeah, I can take it. And you can see year 2, Q3, still this one is high. Now, when it's come to Q4 year 2, what is going to happen? See the word, what is this? Anyone heard about this word? Vipo? What is this?
It is like adjusting the right correct size for our organization.
Organization name infrastructure resources.
Infrastructure, yes.
Exactly. This is known as right sizing. Right sizing. Now, since now we have 2 years of experience of our data center operation moving to cloud now. Now it is time to bring the optimal sizes for these servers. Let's say for example, on the data center, we had 5 servers, which is having 64 GB of memory and 32 cores. Now on the cloud, by now, we should have identified whether are we going to stay in the same configuration in the cloud or not. That is the right sizing. Let's say there was a server which is running SQL server with let's say 1 terabyte of hard disk size, and let's say 64 GB of memory, and let's say 96 cores processors. In the cloud, are we going to use the same machine? Are we going to reduce? Are we going to increase? Right sizing, right sizing. By this time, the team is having an idea, because almost 1 year is gone, reaching second year. What is the best size? That is right sizing. It is a must to identify right size on the cloud for all the infrastructure in order to reduce the cost. නැත්තම් මේ වැනුවෙන් හිටියොත් cost එක වැඩි වෙනවා. කරන්න බෑ. By the second year, right sizing should be start.
So can't you use auto scaling?
Exactly, that is what happening next. Scheduling policies. See, auto scaling should come with policies. Now, okay, let's try to understand. Now, auto scaling is something as per the demand, you go up. When the demand is going high, you go up. When the demand is going low, you go low. But you can't be always doing that, right? You can't be always doing that. There has to be a average point. What is the optimal place? You have to be in the optimal place. Not for all servers, you can't be auto scaling. There can be servers. Now, for example, let's say there are OLTP environment, online processing environment, where there's always a big demand, and the users are coming from the browser, and let's say API calls are happening from the browser. Let's say you are in a containerized environment and in a microservices environment. So in that place, yes, with the container orchestration, you may always can do auto scaling depending on the requirement, because containers are going up, going down. Auto scaling means, let's say, for example, if the hit ratio okay, now let's say now a time like this, let's say this is year end, lot of promotions are happening in the particular business, lot of promotions. So what is going to happen? Customer hit rate from the website, normally let's say in the mid of the year, let's say per second, if there are 10,000 hits, but at the end of the year, it may be 50,000 hits. So what's going to happen? When the 50,000 hits are coming up for the same infrastructure, definitely it's going to degrade the performance because of the workload. So then you should scale up, auto scale. What is scaling up? Plug more processing power, more memory, more disk space, more networking power as needed. Scale up. Then when the promotions are in, maybe at the first part of the year, around March, around February, again, the demand is going down, hit ratio is going down, then scale down. So this is a good thing for the OLTP environment, yes. But there are environments where those are not OLTP. Let's say analytics environment, a predictive analytical environment, batch processing is happening. So for those things, we may not need auto scaling always. That's why we need to define the policies. What is the policy? Are we going to depend on always auto scaling, or are we going to use auto scaling for certain selected environments? So this environment, we are going to have a fixed policy like this. So policies, scheduling policies in cloud, the policies are very important, because the policy carries the resource usage, privilege, authentication, authorization. There are a lot of things coming into play with the policies, rules. So with right sizing, then comes the policies, scheduling policies. Fine. So at this point, year 3 comes, then the next most important thing is coming. Now we have right size, applied policies. Yeah, fine. We are aware our business can be managed with this much of infrastructure. We need high-end servers with 96 cores. We need middle with 32 cores. We need low with 16 cores. Those are the infrastructure for us. Okay, reserve them. That's what, reserve. Yes, reserve. This is our requirement. So reserve. We are putting the agreement with the cloud vendor. Okay, we have successfully migrated. For the next 4 years in time, we are good with this much of infrastructure, and we are reserving. So with the reservation, what's going to happen? There will be a huge cost reduction. Your infrastructure will be discounted highly because we are putting the agreement with the cloud vendor for the 5 years. So it's a big business for them. So we are going to get a big cost reduction there. That's what's going to happen. So this is normal. Even if you purchase machines for organization, let's say it's not a migration. You are going to purchase infrastructure rather than you are hiring PCs. Nowadays, on-premise machines, they NAND, right? When an organization needs some test environment, okay, go for cloud, go for Azure cloud. In the Azure cloud, we are demanding, okay, we need 10 test environment, 10 PCs on for a test environment. All the PCs should have 4 cores and 8 GB memory, and we are reserving it for the next 1 year. So with that word, reserving, you are getting nearly 50% cost reduction, reserved. If we say, no, we are not reserving, we are looking for next 1 month, the cost will go high. That's what. So reserved instance. So that's the ultimate thing. With that, this migration plan is a success. You're going to have TCO. What is TCO? Once you reserved, you are claiming for the ownership for the next 5 years. We have reserved it for the next 5 years. It's like the data center. Data center, if you want refresh, can it be 3 years scale with cloud? Reserve maybe 3 years or 5 years. Yes, you are having the same environment, but lower cost. Now you can see the cost reduction. 50% lower than your data center. That is what. So this is a successful cloud migration plan, infrastructure migration plan. So organizations or resources who are willing to jump into the industry, you need to get this picture correctly. If you don't know this particular model, if you just try to start a migration, you will be in trouble. That is what's going to happen. Because in a lot of places, this problem is there. At higher level, you need to understand this is the model we are going to apply. Without knowing the model, you can't dig into, right? High level, then again, it's a very fundamental thing. I mean, you need to know the architecture first before deep dive in the things, before troubleshooting the things. You can't reinvent the wheel always because there's a predefined model to it. So go after the model. Within the model, you can do the whatever experiment within the model. But by violating the model, if you try to do experiment, you are on your own. The vendor will not be supporting for you. You can't be always doing that. So it's like the peer research and applied research. Fine. Got it? Any questions? Any questions? So TCO is that total cost of ownership. Now you are owning these particular instances. That is any questions you can ask on this. තේරුණාද ප්‍රශ්න දිරන අහන්න. chat එකේ එකක් තියෙනවා but you can talk and demonstrate the feasibility. Yeah. Let me tell you, if you want more details I can give you. Yeah, because I just cut short a lot of things here. But anyway, as I mentioned last day, you have this one, our channel is there now in the channel. This whole PPT is explained in more detail. Means like the pack to explain karna, right? So you visit there and watch it. In the meantime, since there's a question, I'll explain it further how the feasibility is calculated and all very easy. So I'll explain it very briefly, but go to that one in the cloud industry overview in the channel Technology Innovation Hub. It is there, well explained.
Excuse me, sir. The one you write in the chat box, it was meant to be the POC. I mean, the explanation for the POC.
Make the feasibility. Okay, that's good. Thank you. Explanation for the POC. Yeah, okay. So POC is like this. Now, just keep this one away. Okay. Now, proof of concept. It's like this. When you want to learn a new technology, when you want to know how it works, we get different approaches. There are actually 3 approaches. First approach is the POC approach. Okay, can I show you something rather than just explain like this? Let me show you. Let me show you something. Oh no, it is there. Let me check. Make a pen and yeah, what's this? Channel intro version 2. Make a channel again, but let me show you. I'm mute now. Okay, I don't need to have the sound. Let me take you to this place. I make a PPT again. My video got but it's okay. Hold on. Hold on for a second. I made the anybody. Yeah, this is good. Maybe this is what this is the first thing. Proof of concept for whom 0 to 5 years. It's like this. When you want to learn a new technology, when you want to apply for the industry for solutioning, because there's a requirement, there is a system automation to be done. There is a manual system. We need to develop a computer system to automate this particular thing. So you need the technology stack for that. We need to understand what are the technologies we are going to use. We need to identify first thing, which hardware server, which database, which middle layer, what is the software technologies, software architecture, database technology. So likewise, so we need to trial these things, we need to test these things. So that is known as a proof of concept, POC, proof of concept. Now for the POC, who is going to sponsor? How the given normally we can ask the client to sponsor for that. Client is the person who looking for the solution, stakeholder. He is one of the stakeholders in the project. Solution. So we can talk to him and we can tell, look, there's a requirement, your requirement is this, we have understood requirement, but in order to bring this new technology for your organization, we need to do a testing. For that, we need this team, we need to allocate these resources for this, and we need this hardware likewise. Will you be able to invest for this? We can ask it. If they say yes, yeah, that is plus, it is a plus for us. If they say no, still we have to go ahead. Then we have a budget for that later. Solution include cost. So either way, that's the POC, proof of concept. But this is the starting of this, right? I tell you the pole model. Proof of concept is the starting of it. Proof of concept will not do everything because it might not derive the total solution, maybe the part of the solution. So then comes the next thing. That's right. Proof of concept is component based. Component based means what? You are taking the database component, you are taking the server component, you are taking the operating system component, you are taking the application development technologies, you are taking the middle tier likewise. So it is a component based thing. It might not be deriving a total solution. It's better to understand. We technology, we learn this one. We did the POC. Okay, we learn this one. Okay, now let's say, for example, you want to you want to see Oracle database with data guard, high availability. Okay, now everybody knows to now you will install a standalone database. No, database right? It is there. It is now running in your Windows server. Now, for example, client is asking, okay, now database is there, my business is running there. What if some failure happens to this database? Machine එක fail වුණා. OS එක හිර වුණා. Disk එක crash වුණා. What will happen to my data? Okay, now you are thinking, okay, we don't have a solution, database will go down because it crashed. No. Okay, then what do you do? Okay, so yeah, we understand the risk there. There's a risk. Okay, we'll get back to with the solution. Then මොකද කරන්නේ? ගිහලා campus එකේ හතර පස් දිනක එකතු වෙලා team එකත් එක්ක discuss කරනවා. Okay, what we will do? There's a problem, like there's a challenge. Okay, let's Google and let's look for Oracle. What are the solutions? What are the solutions? Okay, you find there's a solution called in Oracle. We can come something called standby sites. Standby. There's a concept called maximum availability architecture. And in the standby site, what happens if the primary site, if my single server goes off, it will do something called a switchover or failover to the standby site, so that the transaction which you are running on the primary site will not get failed. It will automatically divert the ongoing transaction to other site. Standby. It will do automatic failover. And it was it to sync up these two sites. There is something called active data guard. So now you are learning. So what we will do? Okay, now we got this theory. Okay, now how do you do this? How do you test this? Okay, you got a machine. Yeah, we need another server for this. We need new software called Active Regard to be installed, and we need some configurations, and we need to do some our recovery manager configurations. My backups and likewise, you are testing building environment. So that's the POC you are doing. That is a POC. Okay, and you do the POC and you get the proof, and you can go back to your client and tell with evidence, look, we did this. We made a payload to the primary site and it's automatically failing over the standby site, so that your risk is gone down now. We have mitigated your risk. This is the solution, and this is a kind of a solution. We have done the POC and these are results, and we are ready to implement it for you. POC. Are we okay? Clear?
Excuse me, sir. I have a small question.
Mhm.
Is there any chance to fail the POC?
Any chance to fail the POC? Of course, yes.
What
Of
happens if it is?
Of course, yes. So that's the challenge you are taking. In our industry, this is very critical. You can't now, we can't show the client, in front of the client, you can't be a learner, no. That's the problem. So this is within the project. In the project, let's say 5 of you are resources in the project. Now you are given this challenge. Take the same scenario. Oracle now up to now, your knowledge, you know standalone server, you can create a database and everything. But this client was a high availability solution. He cannot afford to fail the business in case of primary site goes off. But at the moment, you don't have that knowledge. Now project manager want this business to be done. Business client solution is Salitic Kumar gained. So you are given the challenge as the resources in the project, 5 resources in the project, you are given the challenge. What is the challenge? There's a knowledge gap for you. There's a knowledge gap. So now client is asking this total solution within 3 months to be implemented. 3 months solution. So project timeline is 3 months. So the project manager has now hired 5 of you in order to deliver this one within 3 months. Within POC time is such a then 2 weeks then more. Now it all depends on your skills. No, are you a past learner? Hari, then we pass then again cow the past learners. Emetang Ganaganda Gamadin, Balang, not a car record, Legas, the lead connected now. Lead passem Balang, not a mea rain, young passe. Anita Balang. Okay, team Tunagandago, let's say there are 3 teams. Team number 1, lead is good, and the rest of the 4 resources are 75% compatible for lead. Competence level got lead 75% fit peno. That is team 1. Team 2, I think you are getting it. Team 2, lead is not 100% compatible, but he is 80%. 3 team members are 75% fit into the lead. Competence skills and then a team 2. Team 3, lead is 50%. Team then superior 80%. They are good learners, fast learners. Rest of the 2 also laggards. They are not. Now tell me, out of the 3 teams, paid even within high team Mokad.
Third one.
And third one. Why is the reason? Because you are lacking leadership the team skills madi. So likewise, and they don't adapt the new knowledge. They don't adapt the new challenge. They want to learn the new things. Their learning culture is very low. So likewise. So due to various reasons, it can fail. Now, Mama make you a competency in that. The reason that I address because of the skills of the people, knowledge of the people, the way they think of a challenge, attitude of the people, knowledge of the people. That is a one reason. Hardware team machine now let's say for example, to install Oracle, at least we need the 16 GB machine. No? To do a POC, okay, let's say to do a successful POC, so we need at least 16 GB of memory. Let's say you are given 4 GB of memory. So can you do the POC? No, you can't. Problem. Fail. Of course. That's why risk analysis has to be done. And the timeline is 2 weeks. So this is a challenge. So are we willing to take the challenge? Right? Got it? POC is always challenging. It can fail or it can success. If it is success, you have taken this step, you have taken the challenge, you are the winner, you are going ahead for the next level. You are bringing in more business, new idea generation, innovation taking place, like that. Fail not, and it's not good for you. You might be given a need improvement. You are given a personal improvement plan in order to how do you get to that level? ඒකකින් වෙනම consult කරලා mentor කරලා coach කරන්න වෙනවා ඔයාව. So like that. So two sides. Got it? Right now, okay. Let me tell you the next point. Now that is POC or පටන් ගැනීම. We have another thing. Next thing. This is a little bit of senior level. Integrated solutions. So this is a little bit tough than a POC. මේ එලිම solution එකකට යනවා. පොඩ්ඩක් වැඩි. Definitely you should be you have done the POC, otherwise you can't go for integrated solution because this is a component based. No, make integrated solution. Yeah. I tell you the next one quickly. The last one is this is experience I am telling. Is in terms of experience in the industry. The last one is what? Enterprise grade solutions. Enterprise grade solutions. So as soon as you jump into the industry, right? But you should always be doing POCs. I mean, the problem is people are not willing to do POCs. That's why. But as entrance to the industry, as soon as you finish your university internships, you must participate in POC if you want to get a better career. Otherwise, right? So you always participate in POCs. But once you go for 5 years and plus years, go for integrated solution. We can discuss this in later. Got the idea?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What's the channel introduction? මම channel introduction එකේ මේකක් ගත්තේ PPT එකක් ගත්තේ. ආ channel එකට ගියකම යන්නේ introduction එක. අන්න ඒක මේ කියලා දෙනවා. Just watch it. It's good that you asked that question, but anyway, so that's fine. So let's get back to this one. Okay, now we got the idea. Right. Fine. Now Gartner example. So Gartner, anyone know who is Gartner? I hope you know. Gartner දන්නවනේ. Click කරගම යයි. Gartner is one of the #1 research providers in the industry because Gartner rate these technologies in the industry. Who is the best database leader in the industry? Who is the best middle layer leader? Who is the best ERP leader? හැම එකම එයා rate කරනවා. Normally it is acceptable in industry. So you can think about this is the extraction from that, right? Slide එකක extract කරලා තියෙනවා. මේක explain කරනවා. If you want further more details, you can read this reference. And I think, yeah, this PPT is accessible from the channel. No, click right? This is for your learning. Is a kind of another POC. Now, if you want to grab more knowledge on this, you can self-study and self-learn. Right? It's up to you. A lot of homework for you. So if you do, you are the winner. That's the way. Every moment is an innovative moment. Every second is an innovative second. Take it as a challenge. Don't think it that way. There is nothing called learning. I mean, it's always a challenge. It's always a challenge, right? So don't think in that way. Take every moment as an innovative moment. Every moment is a challenging moment. Don't ask the question, why you not do it? What is the challenge? That's the thing. What is the gap? Where are you now? You want to achieve the next level. What should I do? Fill the gap. To fill the gap, bring up the objectives, drill down into tasks, tick the tasks one by one. You will achieve the objective. Build the competencies. That is how you should think. Innovate. Earlier I talked about organization innovation. Okay, personal innovation. How do I innovate as a person? We talk about that one later, right? Okay, now to calculate the cost, but just to tell one thing, let me go for Azure. Now they provide cost calculators. Cloud is very easy. Now, in order to calculate the cost, right? In order to calculate the cost, I can do it. Prior to the actual implementation, I can calculate my cost, define your workload, adjust the assumptions, view the report. Now in my on-premise, I have 50 servers with this much of capacity, processing, this power, networking, this much. So I am putting that load for here. Define your workload. That is my current requirement. Ek දානවා cloud එකට. දාලා බලලා මට කියනවා, okay, you give me a report. Compare the report. This is my existing environment. If I go to cloud, what is the benefit? කියලා කියන්න කියලා මෙයාටම කියනවා. Right? So this fellow will give you the justification. Yeah, කියනවා මෙන්න මෙහෙමයි. ඔයගේ existing, this is your existing environment and you are spending this much of waste is there. If you come to a cloud with us, Azure, cloud provider is Azure, and you are going to save this much of 50% cost saving. Person report එකක් හදලා දෙනවා. So this is what the order is: define the workload, adjust the assumptions, view the report. So very quickly we can do it. Add the workload model. මට දාන්න පුළුවන් මේ මගේ machines දාලා servers මොනවද ඊට පස්සේ මේ පල්ලෙහාට database add කරන්න පුළුවන්. So you try it. In the channel I have explained this some more details, so I'm not going to spend that much of time here. But this is your homework. කරලා බලන්න මෙයා. You have Azure access now. Azure login තියෙනවනේ. So try these things. This link is given again in the presentation. TCO, mean TCO, Azure cost calculator කියලා ගන්න ටක් ගාලා එනවා. You can take it. Fine. Right. So that is that for Azure, and I have given for the rest of the vendors as well, not only Azure. මේ අනිත් ඒවාත් ඔක්කොම දිනවා. Google, Alibaba, IBM Cloud, Oracle Cloud, I have given those things here. Great. Right. Any questions on this? Hope you got it. I think we spent a little bit of time there. Right. So this is what AWS securing and cloud vendors. This is again Gartner report. AWS securing the top slot for 10th consecutive year. AWS තමයි දවරුත් 10ම lead කරන්නේ because they were the one who started cloud, no? Right? Amazon. So they are leading here. You can see they are top. Microsoft is second. Google is here. Oracle is here. Likewise. But this fellow is catching up little by little. Great. So this is what dominance of two giants. Who are the two giants in the industry? AWS and මේක බලන්න පුළුවන් ඉතින් කවුද giants ලා මේ ඉන්නේ who are giants Alibaba ඉන්නවා AWS post මෙතන දිගටම 32% 31% Q3 quarter 3 2019 33% of the market 2020 end of Q3 of 2020 32% of the market Azure 13% 19% 20% likewise අනිත් අය ඉතින් හැම අරගෙන ඉන්නවා. So likewise, anyway, these two are giants. Azure and AWS are giants. Gartner forecast is there, and it says desktop as service, DaaS models. What is desktop as service? Anyone knows? A new service, new infrastructure service, cloud infrastructure. Desktop as service. Anyone? Maybe. Done this. Hello, the DaaS. Right.
So giving a computer, something like a computer with a
yeah, because work from home, no. So due to this pandemic situation, most of them still we are working from home, most of them, and so they need hardware. So that's why, because not everybody can have the physical. මොකද ගන්න terminal එකක් විතරක් දෙනවා with the low resources. Otherwise, then cloud එකේ තියෙන machine එකක් access කරන්න තව machine එකක් එපා. You need no, right? You need some interface, no, some computer interface is required to access the remote machine, right? You need a computer, but your local computer or your home machine is just a terminal. It just has the communication line. Network එකකින් internet කියලා connect කරන්න පුළුවන්. That's all it. You no need to have a super computer, high processing, high this. No, that's not the very low cost terminal. එකයි terminal එකක් කියන්නේ. And but you are given access for a high environment like a real desktop where it can satisfy your job role requirements. අවශ්‍ය විදිහට ඒකේ resources තියෙනවා. That is a desktop as a service. Desktop as a service. So that is going high and it's predict 150% වැඩි වෙනවා කියලා කියනවා 2020-23. Yeah, it should be. Why? Because this may give away in the pandemic, right? The human not allowing it to finish, no. They are calling it back. It's ending, they are calling it back. Are you? Even is. What do you think? Will the pandemic end on this year? What do you think? Anyone? ඔගොල්ලෝ මොකද කියන්නේ? පැන්ඩමික් එක ඉවර වෙන්නේ නැද්ද?
Don't
Another-
think it is going to end in this year, sir.
Most of this is going to end this year.
No, I don't think.
You don't think? Okay. Anyone thinks it's going to end this year?
Because there are new variations after few months. That's continuing.
Okay, that's true.
I think it will get some measures to reduce the situation.
Oh, okay. So we have the right thinking, right? Now, now human means what? A creature with higher mind, right? Human is a creature with higher mind. Now, if he is demonstrating his higher mind, can we end the COVID? Human is demonstrating his higher mind, right? Higher mind. එහෙනම් COVID end වෙනවද? Yes, no. Higher mind එක කියන්නේ ටිකක් intelligent තියෙන එකක් කියලා කියමුකෝ. Yeah. So he is following the best practices, he is following the best protocols. Then what will happen? මේක spread වෙනවා නවතිනවනේ ඉතින්. Right? I mean, health best practices are there, keeping the 2-meter distance and no unnecessary gatherings. At least for a certain period. At least for a certain period. Human is really demonstrating his intelligence. If such the situation, this will go down. When naked, you all can think, ඔයගොල්ලෝ young age එකේ ඉන්න අයනේ නේද? දැන් ඒකද වෙන්නේ දැන්. හිතන්න බා. As per your opinion, amen, right?
No.
That's all. Okay, so it is in our hand. Whether to end this or to continue, it's in our hand, right?
Sometimes Sri Lankans are behaving better than the developed countries.
Exactly correct. Now it has come to that level. It's a lapayom biscuit. Then yes, අනිත් පැත්තට යනවා. So again, this is a trap.
I think they mostly care for their freedom. That's the problem.
Yes, exactly. COVID is trying to tie human's hand. In my opinion, human has not done reasonably. They haven't acted reasonably for the nature. සාධාරණයක් කරේ නෑනේ පරිසරයට. මේක කෑවනේ. They have done most of the bad. Right? So nature is giving us back. So it's up to the human by demonstrating the intelligence whether to learn a lesson and end it up quickly, or they can drag it and I don't know, tell the rest, right? They can drag it, or they can do a extermination. Or I mean, maybe 90% or 80% of the human kind will go away if they continue this one, or they can end it quickly by demonstrating the higher mind, acting as a intelligent creature. So choice is on them. But the problem is due to the uncontrolled desires given by the human. Manasane, not I mean, the desires are not controlled. It is always more. Tawon. So those desires are dragging this COVID within the whole world. That's one of the reasons why we can't end this quickly. But if people really demonstrate their intelligence and act as a creature with higher mind, yes, we can quickly end this. Choice is ours. Right? Got it? Right? Right? Okay, so that is 3 minutes out of the way discussion. Fine. So there is a desktop as is good. Right, and this is the next thing. And this is all about AWS versus Azure versus GCP service comparison. This is a comparison. I make a good out there also, but I'm just quickly going through because these various cloud providers use various services. Services good out there. Now, if I just say compute service, now it's an infrastructure service, computing power, maybe processing power. How AWS giving that? Now in AWS, it is known as a elastic compute cloud EC2 හැමෝම දන්නවනේ. If you want to provision instance මොකද කියන්නේ AWS ගියකම EC2 instance එකක් ගන්න. That's what it says. Now you want the infrastructure. Let's say you want a Linux machine. Now Oracle දාන්න කියන විදිහට I mentioned to put Oracle. I requested. Now if you want to install Oracle in a traditional way, ජාති කීයක් කරන්න ඕනේ? Okay, install virtual machine, install the guest OS and put Linux on it. Likewise, it's a endless things. No, it takes time. මොකද කරන්නේ? You go to cloud, a new method. Go to cloud. You go to EC2. Get a Linux instance. So at once, your 80% of the tasks are done for you. So Linux box එක ගන්න ඕනේ. Within few seconds, you get a Linux box. Infrastructure is provision. If you further want, we can get a customized machine with Oracle as well. That is also possible. From the custom market, from the Azure AWS market, we can get it. A machine with Oracle installed, but of course, for them we have to pay, right? So that's the beauty of it. So we can provision the infrastructure quickly, very fast. So with AWS, it is EC2. Azure, we are telling virtual machines. With Google, we are telling compute engine. So these are different terminologies that each vendor is using to provide their hardware service. That's right. So then platform as service, they have Azure, AWS, they have Elastic Beanstalk and likewise App Engine. So likewise, a lot of things are there. And or service, auto scaling service, AWS telling auto scaling, Azure is telling VMS scaling sets, and again GCP is Google. They are telling auto scaling. So VMware Cloud. So just go through it. Just go through it and just don't forget to click these links. I have given links and a lot of information is there. And you can learn a lot from this presentation on cloud. It's like a journey. That's why very big knowledge is here. And the container service. So we have container services, EC2, ECS, Elastic Container Service from AWS, Azure known as AKS, Azure Container Service, and Google known as GKE, Google Kubernetes Engine. And because Kubernetes is an open source project that we know at, but when it's come to vendors, they have their own flavors. AWS giving EKS, their flavors, Kubernetes, Azure is given AKS, and GCP is given their flavor. So this is what, and ECR is their container registry, a lot of things. I'm not going to go to one by one because this is, I mean, whole course can be done on this. But I'm not going, that is not objective, but you can do your study. So I just want you to go to, I capture the most important things, security services. So, and again, we have more storage as a service, the storage comparison. How AWS, they have block object storage, how AWS give, Azure give, GCP, block storage. So in general, these are the services given by each and every vendor. Block storage, infrequent access archiving, file storage, bulk data transport, backup storage, disaster recovery. So these are the services given for storage. And yeah, we have a chat. That cloud comparison. Yeah. Can I click on this, Tarindu?
Yes, I added the image from I have seen recently in LinkedIn. The cloud comparison wall image.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. You can learn. Yeah, you can do because this comparison actually was done around 4 months back. It is fairly new, but you can compare what within that 4 months there can be certain new things. Of course, this is one of the latest what I am following. You can compare exactly. Yes, that is good. Cloud comparison. I'll download this. Yeah, let's take a look at later. I'll take a look at later, and for next time I'll see what in it. Thank you for sharing that, Tarindu. No problem. Right. Storage as a service, yes. Then it comes to database. So we have database also because different vendors operate different database services. You can see Amazon, they have RDS, then Azure, they have SQL managed instances. GCP, they have cloud SQL. So these are their services. They have NoSQL, in-memory, and document services, data warehouse, data analytics services, ledger service, graph databases. Yeah. Now the latest I have added here the data lakehouse and data lakehouse. These things I have added. So those are latest. Okay, network service, yes. Pricing, yeah, I have given pricing also. Just click and see. Because different vendor has different pricing. Everybody has free tier. We can learn, no problem. I'll tell you upcoming sessions. I'll show you by visiting the still I didn't go for any cloud vendor and we didn't do any practicals, no. So I discuss those things in upcoming sessions. Yeah, cost comparison scenarios. Yes, there are different sites which provide the cost because AWS cost calculator, Azure, Cloudorado, and this is a third-party one. You can calculate the cost. For example, you can just put a machine configuration. Okay, if I click here, I think I click there, let it load. Yeah, now Cloudorado is giving cloud this one. For example, I can either cloud feature management, either I can select one of those things, or I can get inbuilt one. These are inbuilt machines. Now, for example, let's say on Google M1 machine, it will cost me this much per a month. Windows Azure A4 V2, it will cost this much. I can put a customized version, no problem. Now I can define the machine. See, the customize the machine I want. Now I can say CPU power I want 2, and I can say RAM 1 GB, 20 GB of hard disk. Likewise, I can define, and for this particular configuration, and this is the cost from each vendor. These are different cloud providers. We are talking about the top vendors, no, but we have Cometra, M5, Cloudware. Now for that particular machine, I asked, what is the machine? I need 2 CPU, 1 GB, 20 GB, and this much of time on. So I'm going to use 100 hours per month. So number of hours matters, no, the pay as you go model. And yes, license, I need Linux, and I need transit out those things I can configure. So for this machine with 1 GB is telling these are the cost per month, dollars. But of course, 1 GB machine, we can get pre-tier as well. In pre-tier also it is eligible. But this is a cost comparison. You can see each vendor, Amazon, how it's used, and likewise how to get a high level idea. Cloudorado. Okay, just go through it, right? And let's talk about the pre-tier later. Okay, right. And that one, just want to touch quickly this one, guidance framework. Yeah, that is up to you. Top cloud technologies, I mentioned this one on last time. I'm not going to go to that one again. Okay, cloud computing examples. So we have more examples. Applications of cloud computing. SaaS, software as a service. These are our services. Software as a service, Atlassian, Zoom, Office 365, Box, Dropbox, Spotify, Splunk, Netflix, Google G Suite, Google Apps, all are software as a service. Platform as a service. Infrastructure, Acquia, Heroku, Google App Engine, OpenShift, all links you can visit and see. Wasabi, so Vimeo, Oracle Cloud Platform. This is platform as a service, infrastructure. We have big data analytics. That's another service. Analytics, Spins, Datadog, Netflix analysis. We have a lot of things. So just all our links you can click and see. And we have data governance, cyber security. Security is one of the biggest demands nowadays. Carbonite, Scalar, Red Canary. We have Forcepoint, Crypto, right? These are, I mean, one of the popular ones. Palo Alto, popular. Jump Cloud Security. And again, we have, it is not about it is not about automation, autonomous, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Gen 2. I mentioned this one on last time. You can see Zoom moving 7 petabyte per day data, 7 petabyte, you can see. Oracle Cloud is so powerful. So, and it can handle, no problem, no interruptions, no failures. Yes, so this is about auto provisioning, autonomous cloud, auto configuration, patching. We talk about those things later. Yeah, so and these are customers for Oracle Cloud Computing trends. So these are the trends. Edge is the new cloud. AI/ML will revolutionize cloud computing, increase demand for private, hybrid, multi-cloud, joint cloud providers, And further, we have rise of cloud native technologies, containerization, going serverless, orchestration platforms, the growth of SASE adaptation, increased need for data security, and likewise, so a lot of things are there. Likewise, virtual desktops, I mentioned that one. And further, we have state of the cloud expertise. This is another important thing. Training, broad trend training, end of 2020. Actually, GCP, Google, no, Azure is leading in terms of growth of training. In Azure training, godak deno. This is in terms of growth. Cloud expertise one. Second thing is the expertise as of now. Current cloud expertise. We have more certified people on Azure, sorry, AWS. We have more certified people on AWS as well. Secondly, on Azure. Thirdly, on GCP. This is as of now the expertise, no, Oracle both. More certified people. And the link is from here. So this is another interesting topic, desired cloud. Desired can mean කැමති exam කරන්න මොකේද? People prefer to do more learning on this cloud. Who is leading there? In there, Azure is leading because user friendliness is very high in Azure. And again, Google also is very user friendly than AWS. So in their AWS going back a little. So that means you can see in the future, this fellow will catch up because more certified people like to use it likewise. And Oracle also here. Okay, state of the cloud expertise. So here we go, top cloud computing carriers. Yeah, this is another important thing for you. Carrier wise, what is leading? I have given the salary as well per month. Cloud administrator, cloud architect, and cloud automation engineer. So, and cloud consultant, cloud engineer, and cloud software engineer. So these are the most popular roles in 2021 and beyond 2022. Up that tech target given that, and further I have given, this is another very important for you, top cloud computing skills to boost career in 2020 and beyond. Top cloud things that you should focus in 2021 on demand and beyond. What are technologies? DevOps. Focus on that. Machine learning, AI, hybrid, security, storage, networking management. We have more. Database management, data application, multi-cloud, matrix analytics, automation, infrastructure automation languages. What are these? IAC, IAL. Anyone knows infrastructure automation languages? Anyone?
Terraform.
Terraform.
Yeah, Terraform, Chef, Puppet,
Ansible.
Ansible, cloud formation. Yeah. So those things will automate the infrastructure because nowadays, not like earlier, we can't go on and sit in front of the machine and configure and install everything. Oracle manual, you download the installation, go to the machine, click the installation, and like that. That's not the way. It should be automated. Everything. From the hardware level, we can automate it. Now, even if you want to spin up an instance in the cloud, Azure instance spin up karaneka, you don't do manually. We can do it via Terraform and we can automate it. And in the meantime, spin up the instance and get all the software installed. We can automate it pretty easily. Now, these languages are not like the C++, Visual Basic, and the Java languages. These are very user-friendly languages. Simple English, especially Terraform-like things. Terraform is leading. Why is there computing statistic between why is there computing stats between favoring Azure and mostly used AWS? With this asking Prageet. Yeah, that question I think should be related to the previous one, no, this one. I think that current cloud expertise. So this is clearly AWS. That is as of now. Okay, as of now. But this statistics was desired. That means people who like willingness, their willingness in the future, they would like to, they prefer to learn on this platform. That is what the statistics is for that. So in that Azure, people prefer more. So this statistics is from this place, devops.com. So you can find more information. Pragit, yeah, that's a valid
Is it
question.
because of the usability and the GUI of the Azure is better than the AWS?
Those are few reasons. There are a lot of reasons. Now, in our experience, since we are using most of these clouds parallelly, AWS, because there are things like this. Sales-driven clouds, engineering-driven clouds, user-driven clouds. There are categories. How these people are marketing in the industry, there are categories. Some of them are more sales-driven. Sales-driven means they want to bring more business to their platform, but they are not worried about that much of after sales. ඔය ඇවිල්ලා කරනකොට පස්සේ තමයි ප්‍රශ්නේ එන්නේ. So AWS, yeah, it is a giant, it is a number one, but if you look at the failure rates, cloud downtimes, they are the highest. Just take a look at the reports on the industry, you can Google it and see. They have the highest failures. And a lot of vendor lock-ins are there. So likewise, there are pros and cons we can think about, because they are more sales driven. User friendly wise, they are not that much. And on the other hand, if you think about Azure is more user friendly and engineering driven. So they are more robust in there because they have less failures in comparison to this. And they are engineering user friendliness also there. Again, GCP also much higher in user friendly. So, I mean, when you use this cloud, you feel it. You have to be a user on all of those things. For let's say, for example, just think about a small activity. You want to provision a cloud machine from the beginning, and you want to install and configure a database cluster on it. Just think about that process, and you try it on all of these four, and you will feel the difference. Let's say I want to define a Postgre cluster on AWS, same in Azure, same in GCP, same in Oracle. You will feel the difference. Again, you want to provision which one? Kubernetes cluster. Think about that something. You want to provision a Kubernetes cluster in Azure, AWS, GCP. You will feel the difference. For example, in AWS, to provision the cluster and destroy it, you might take 20 minutes, but in Azure, within 10 minutes, you can do everything. Very easy. And if you want to delete the cluster in AWS, it might not deleting 100%. Certain resources you have to manually delete, but which will cause cost for you. That's a problem. පස්සේ අපි දන්නේ හැංගිච්ච end of the month you get the bill problem. But in Azure, no. Once you clear the group, resource group, automatically everything clears. Similarly in GCP as well. Oracle is much better than that. So likewise, there are problems. So we need to get into it and see. Okay. So that's the reason. Those are the reasons why people desire is much more here. Hope is clear. Got the idea? Clear. Okay, good. Right. So this is just focus on those. If you want looking for a career with cloud, definitely looking for whatever career you need to be with cloud. There is no doubt about that. As resources who are looking for the jobs in industry, I think in your case, most of the things you will have to do remote working, work from home will continue. So definitely you need to learn more on cloud. No issues, no doubt there. So focus on that from, yeah, thanks. Now onwards, so just make it, this is the starting point. So continue your journey on cloud in parallel with other studies. Metrics analytics, automation, change management. I told you about change management, people mindset, and all. This is very valid because nowadays we know now. See, our people mindset. They think that business cannot be done. No, now that's what with the pandemic, a lot of business went down. No, went down. But that is not the way. That should not be. That should not be the way forward. Because in every business, we need to think. There's a possibility of automating. There's a possibility of automating. Maybe not 100%, but as much as we can, we should do automation. The final portion, which is a physical interaction, is required. Let it be like that. That's not the way. Now, I tell you a few examples. Now, even this tourism industry. Now, they all are thinking in traditional way. No, that's not going to work. Always they are thinking taking the tourists physically and take them into a country and let them visit somewhere. No, that's not the way. No, there are new technologies. In different countries, they have tested those methods. You can do it digitally. Why everybody has to visit physically? Now you all know currently in the cloud there are museums, there are tourist places. I mean there are places which has gone beyond the experience of a virtual tour. The virtual tour is something something traditional. It has become something traditional. Anyway, you can get the real feeling. So that kind of environment you need to think about in that angle, not in the traditional way. We cannot go back to the old method and redo it. We have to think about the new methodologies to go forward. We cannot let the business to go down. So these are few examples I am telling.
So how about using AR and VR for those kind of things?
Exactly correct. Exactly correct. Because you can start your business with WhatsApp. The business that went down, start with WhatsApp. The smallest thing. Everybody knows, everybody can, most of the resources are having a smartphone in hand. So start with WhatsApp. With WhatsApp, you can do a lot of things. Fine. So don't let the business down. So, okay. Yeah, AR and those things are, yes, very, very usable things. Any practical example that you are aware? I'm not sure who asked that question.
So it is to convince people through the new technology, even if it is very hard to convince to use a point of sale system in these days.
No, yeah. Can you tell me, yeah, hands-on, like point of sale convince in a sense, what kind of thing? Yeah, can you tell me more examples?
So I am telling like the shop as example, a shop doing things manually, but if I want to introduce a point of sale system for them, they don't trust it.
Yeah, so that depends on a lot of factors. You need to build the trust first, and the way you market it, how do you brand it? So a lot of things are there. Yes, there's a rhythm to do it. There's a particular art for it. So you need to follow up that knowledge is required. So you need to, I mean, these business people have to get the consultancy if they're not aware. Not everybody is aware of IT. So that's true. The knowledge gap is there, but that doesn't say the business should go down. There is a way forward. You need to find out the way forward. And actually, ultimately, there's a lot of cost reduction. So think in that way, because if most of the business are going online, what will happen? Our travel will go down. Our time will save. Our fuel cost will go down. Infrastructure costs go down, because a lot of things will go down, and it will take little time to realize this. But on the other hand, profit will generate after a certain time. But initially, not everything 100%, as I said, we can't do automate. But yes, that doesn't say not to as well. Okay, so I'll talk about those things little by little later with the time. Yeah, fine. So, and that is about change management. How do you do that? And okay, so then this is another important thing: certifications, top cloud certification. So vendor specific, I mentioned this one because there are vendor buyers. That means offered by the vendor. Now AWS, they have AWS certified cloud practitioner, AWS certified solution architect, and AWS certified DevOps engineer professional. With Google also, they have associate cloud engineer, professional cloud architect, and Azure they have Microsoft Azure likewise. So they are giving vendor specific. So I can click one of these things, but it will take you to each and every. You can do it, but there's another thing called vendor neutral. Yeah, IBM Cloud. These are other certifications: Oracle, Cisco, and I have given them also from a side. And we have vendor neutral also, as I mentioned. Now these people are not buyers; they are giving the foundation. I mean, their terminologies are not specific for vendor, so they are giving the general knowledge. So, for example, let's say Cloud Institute. Cloud Institute. If you click here, this Cloud Institute, so vendor neutral organization, and Cloud Open Exam. So they provide this one. Let's say this one. If I click here, pre. This is a pre-exam now they are giving. So you can try it out, right? Start the exam. So you can try it out and see where are you now. This is total pre. And I think in my earlier in the channel, I am demonstrating exam because I did the exam for this example. And you can find as a normal end user or as a resource in industry, where are you in terms of knowledge? So in that particular exam, they are hitting, they are given around 60 questions to be done in 40 minutes. So you can try it out. It's a free one. Likewise. So, yeah, CNCF, yeah. Cloud, yes, this is one of the most famous open source CNCF cloud foundation. So I can take, I will give you an introduction later, this one about CNCF. So this one, okay, let me just, I have a separate presentation on CNCF cloud provider. Yes, just මට මේ ඉස්සෙල්ලා ලෝටා මම ගත්තේ නෑ මොකද ඔක වෙනම ලොකු ඒරියා එකක් තියෙනවා ඒක කරන්න. This what Cloud Native Foundation. Actually, these are the make a back කරන ගොඩක් projects තියෙනවා මේක. There are a lot of projects, certification and yeah, my site Cloud Native Foundation. Okay, CNCF projects. Okay. Incredible projects. Graduated, they are certified projects. So they have even Kubernetes now managed by CNCF. We know that. etcd, this is in Kubernetes. The control information is in etcd, is another project. NOI, again, this is Kubernetes cluster. Helm charts, they are linked. So that is a container management system. So this is container D, again, replacement for Docker. So like I'll go to this one in another day. And you can think of, because this came out, you can look at this one as well. You can say DevOps tools periodic table. Just look at this one as well. Periodic table for DevOps, digital AI. Earlier, this company name was, can't remember, they changed it recently. Last year only they changed it. So just think about this one. And now this is a periodic table. Of course, we know periodic table, we all have learned in our primary school, but this is what? This is a periodic table for DevOps tools. DevOps tools in the, because in the DevOps CI/CD platform, there's a lot of tools are there. No? I mean, we have the integration from the source code repository to testing to security to deployment platform to reporting to monitoring. There are a lot of tools. So this explains each and every tool. Now, for example, if I say I want to get continuous integration tools, CI tools. So if you go down, the CI tools are at the bottom. You can see Jenkins is one of the most famous. We have GitLab, and these are all tools which is for continuous integration, the CI server. And again, we have the middle part also there. Database management for deployment and container orchestration platforms, containers. We have Kubernetes as well. Kubernetes comes under deployment like this. So like just take a look at it, and containerization, collaboration. And if you click one of those things, they will give you more details. It will tell you what is that tool is all about. So it is a very handy display demonstration of using periodic table. Where is Kubernetes? Deployment, yeah, here we have on the deployment only Kubernetes to come. Yes, here we have there. Okay, this is a good deployment tool. So AZP, digital AI, UD, Splunk. And you just take a look at it. Continuous integration, AI, containerization. Configuration, containers. Fine, that's okay. So just look at it, that one as a periodic table for DevOps tools. Fine. And so that is another one. CNCA file, come back and do later again. And yeah, so this is vendor neutral, and we have security knowledge, cloud credential council, CCC. That is another vendor neutral certification provider. Yeah. So this one. Try a pre-exam on this. So the beauty and the benefit is you are getting a generic knowledge. So once you get the general knowledge, it's not a vendor biased knowledge. So it's easy to bridge the gap. When you get the general understanding on cloud and you are across all the vendors, you are certified like in terms of generic. So then when you go to Azure, just to fit into their terminal, that is easy adaptation. But when you go and certified on Azure, you know only Azure. So that's the problem. They don't talk about generic, rather they talk more about their own terminology. So that's the beauty of becoming a vendor neutral certified cloud resource first, then go for the vendor specific one. Okay, so vendor neutral. Okay, so that is that, and I have more Genius, Cloud Agent Service, and Cloud Master. Yeah, this is the events. These are the events I told you about. How do you keep up to date? How do you get the latest knowledge? So just participate these events, annual events happening with the giant vendors. This is Cloud Expo Europe 2021. This has happened now. This is normally happening in July, and most of them are free. IEEE conference, so they talk about most of the researchers and all, and I have given the links for register. And this is infrastructure everywhere, business through innovation. So likewise, and these are cybersecurity, Cloud Congress. So likewise, you can attend to those things and see Microsoft Ignite, their annual event, and Cloud Fest 2021. Of course, now almost end of 2021. No? Cloud Transformation Champions. Just take a look at those things. Oracle Open World, Las Vegas. So this happened on October, I guess, right? This is Oracle annual event. And AWS Summit. So they have, you can just, and Google I/O and Alibaba. So they have annual events. So participate in those things. So then you will get the latest trend. What is the vision of those giant organizations? So which will allow you to keep up to date with your knowledge, innovation. That should happen. Got it. So that is that. So and beginners, yeah, that is the end of that presentation. I hope you got an idea about the cloud infrastructure and all. And so next day, let's jump into hands-on a little bit. So, and I go into few cloud vendors like Azure, AWS, Oracle, and let's try to provision some machines. And let's try to get hands-on with that. Okay, by the way, did anyone try to install Oracle on Linux? Anyone tried? Yeah, practically, yes, so great. Pragit, successful on done. If you followed the video, you should be able to do it. So anyway, try to do it. So anyway, from next day onwards, we'll be starting hands-on. So I have both environments, as I said. So this is 90C12C environment. Yeah, it was successful. That is very good. Yeah, very good. Great achievement. So let's start the hands-on on next day onwards, and I'll be following these guides. I'll be sharing those guides for you, so you can do it. These are the guides I'm going to use. Anyway, these are there in channel as well. Technology Innovation Hub channel and Oracle. Yeah, we'll be starting Oracle, getting familiar with Oracle database. So very basics we'll be starting. Getting familiar with Oracle database, CP1, competency building 1. So this is where we're going to start on next day. and we are going to familiar with Linux environment. In Windows also I can do parallelly, but if you have Linux, you can do with me. How to switch, ID commands, very basics. Profiles, bash profiles, Oracle configurations in Linux, and sys and sysdba, those roles, database users, and there are a lot of things to do done. Security control configurations, database status, opening, shutting down, lot of things, version info, and that's the very first tune. And after that we are coming to the second one, which will take you to more deep on the instance architecture as well. This is CP2. Yeah, this one. No, this is CP3. CP2 is here. Computer building 2. Yeah, so this is CP2, activity 2. Yeah. So in that we'll be further deriving the instance information and all. Yeah, we can get into Oracle instance and see how it works. With basic information related to instance. Yeah, and the rest. So no worries, I will explain these things because this is just a text explanation with hands-on. Other than that, I have the PPTs as well, so we can go through all of them from next day onwards. This is, I have a different series on traditional database architecture explanation. So I will go through this one with you. PowerPoint presentation. This is traditional database architecture explanation. So I take you through these things, database architecture. Detailed explanation is there, but not all required. But anyway, I'll take you to the necessary parts because we cannot be covering everything within this 15 hours. But anyway, so this is there. So if anyone wants to get familiar prior to what I am the next session, what you can do, it's better if you can watch these things and come. So you can just there is the browser. It's not coming. Okay, anyway, I'll use the browser. So what you can do, you can just go to our YouTube. Yeah, so in this you can watch this series. I'm not using this browser normally, but technology. Yeah, it's not innovation. Yeah, this one. So if you go here, this one will have under playlist. So we have Oracle portal here. Oracle portal, and if you can watch this starting from here. Getting familiar. This one, session 1. Oracle non-multi-tenancy architecture lesson 01. So if you can watch this one and participate in the session, it will be very helpful to understand the things that I'm explaining in the class. And again, these prior sessions also good, but architecture you need to be familiar first. Okay. So still the series continuing. It's continuing to more than 20 sessions. But anyway, so just watch it. And all right, so I think it's almost up in time. So any questions on today's session? So we completed this one. And if you have any questions, you can ask. Okay, are we good then? Okay, then shall we meet on next Wednesday then? There are no questions. Okay, then I'll stop here. Okay, then have a good night. Then I'll meet you on next week. Bye bye.